Warning. Child abuse story. Number. So, after my English class got the A on the poem that I had read and written and read, then things changed at school and things also changed at home. My stepfather had lived in the house that my daddy had bought, and my mother had moved out and moved us kids with her to an apartment. Well, now we moved back to the house, and I had my old room back. And in fact, she gave me his room. You talk about nightmares, honey. That was the worst time in there. It just probably scarred me all over again. Well, her and I got into these big fights because she was seeing, she's in her 40s. She was like 45. And she was seeing a man that was like in his 70s. And they were sharing a room together. And she told me that wasn't really my business and that I needed to obey my parents because it says so in the Bible. I said, it also says in the Bible, thou shalt not commit adultery either. And this is, or fornication, I should say. And she's like, well, I could do what I want because I'm an adult. I says, really? I says, where does it say except for, and I said her name, in there. And she walked out and her boyfriend says, may I have a talk with her? And she's like, by all means. So he comes in, he goes, honey, he says, your mom and I, we love each other. And it's not in a intimate way, if you know what I mean. I said, you mean sexual way? And his face is like turning like shades of red, right? And he says, yes, we don't do that. And I said, so that means what? You guys share a room. You guys get dressed in front of each other, so you're doing something. He goes, oh no, honey. He says, and his face is getting redder and redder. He goes, I can't get it up. And I looked at him and I says, I might be a teenager, but I know there's more than one way to mess around, whether you can get it up or not. The man stood up and walked out because he was so embarrassed. Now, there's also more stories in my book that I have not mentioned because a lot of it's not abuse. So if you want to know even more, like the time that I went, that's coming up. Never mind. We'll talk about that later.